Hello everybody, I'm Shepples and welcome back to Let's Play Grimrock Gospel Dungeon Master Quest. I figured it out! I figured out how this works. After I took a break, I decided to take one more stab at this. And I don't know how I didn't figure this out already. Right, what you do, see that statue? It hasn't got anything in its hands. So you put the sword in its hand. Take the sword. Ah, wrong hand. Okay. He then takes the sword, the replica, which opens that. Take this, fuck it at the altar, run across, and you get the real dismantler. Ta-da! I was concentrating so much on my party that I didn't even think about looking at the statues around me, including him that doesn't have anything in his hand. It was so simple. I feel very silly now. I really do. Right, I got the dismantler. I'm happy now. Okay. Right. Dismantler in hands. God damn it. I forgot how quick these were to attack. Oh, come on. Really? Come on! Take him down! This is gonna be harder than ever. I'm gonna be going backwards and fucking forwards again, aren't I? I've talked about this before. It's been a long time since I have talked about it, but I talked about it before where I was saying that modders are unbelievable. Like, it's become something amazing. I mean, modders have really become the backbone of a lot of games now. And it's not always a good thing, because it means that developers are getting lazy and they're kind of relying on the modders to make their game that little bit more than they are. I'm not saying now that every game does, every developer's like that, but it has kind of become a bit of a case where the developer kind of doesn't put out as much as they should, because they're just sort of relying on modders to improve in every sort of way. But I mean, in the long run, like, modding has become something incredible. It really has. I mean, I've never been big into mods. I will admit I've never really modded a lot of games. I did a bit with Morrowind and a little bit with Oblivion, but I've never gone to any extreme lengths, nor have I really tried modding myself. Like, at the time of Morrowind and that, I was only about, what would I have been? Morrowind was what, 2001? So I would have only been about 11 at that point, and I would have been 12. So I wouldn't have really had the patience to learn how to use the editor with Morrowind, and with Oblivion I was probably no different. I just didn't really have the patience for it, really. But basically what I'm trying to get at is that it's become like, if you look at any games that on Steam that have workshop, it's become amazing how dedicated people are to basically making their own version of what they would like to see or how to improve it. And this is a pure example of this, because like the amount of work that's gone into this, like this wasn't just a couple of days that this developer did this. It probably took him weeks to actually make this mod. I know at the end of the day it is technically just a redesign of the original Grimrock dungeon, and what he probably did was he probably loaded up the Grimrock dungeon and into the editor, and he just edited around it. But it's not just that he's done. He's added so much more to it. Like, you know, you have your scrolls now, which give you bonuses. You have like sets give bonuses. You have so much more than just that, you know. And he's added in all kinds of new features that weren't in the original title, and it's incredible. Like it wasn't just an overnight job. There's no way that it was. And I mean, he's literally just changed around what was wrong with the original Grimrock. Like mistakes that they made with the level design, things like that. I mean, nobody's perfect. Even the most professional of, and even veterans, do indeed make mistakes when it comes to level design. I mean, nobody's fucking perfect. You're never gonna get a game that is like completely perfect on level design. That would just be absurd. Right, that iron key, I'm guessing that's for the armory, is it? You know, and to hope something like that would be just arrogant, really. You know, because nobody's perfect, and like, you know, we're always going to make mistakes. Like, I admit I was really bloody harsh on Grimrock. I was very, very harsh on Grimrock. But there was a lot of mistakes made with Grimrock. That's why I was so bloody harsh on it. But I mean, the sheer quality of this mod is phenomenal. I mean, I don't know if the creator of this mod is a game developer or what. I don't know. Like, no, I don't know anything about them. I don't even know whether it was a man or a woman. I don't know. You know, it's, I guess what I'm trying to get at is you don't need to be professional to make something incredible when it comes to games. I mean, I admit when it comes to making a mod, you are given the tools. Like, the hard bit is done for you. You're given what is needed. You know, the programming and all that is done for you, more or less. You just have to put all the pieces together. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, I'm so dead. Balls. Shit. I didn't even see where he came from. Ah, balls. Okay. Let's go back down here. Now I forget what I was saying. But yeah, you're given essentially all the tools you need. You just have to basically put it together and add in your own bits. Like, there's another one that I have downloaded, another mod. Now, I haven't really played, I just played like the first few minutes of it, called the Mines of something. I can't remember the full name. It's the Mines of something, and you're essentially in a mine, and they've actually put in like textures for like mine textures, so you're not in a dungeon, you're actually in a mine. You don't get any of these or anything like that, and they've actually gone around and they've changed all the textures and created their own textures and everything else, and it looks great. It really does. And the modding world has just changed so much. Like, it's become a massive thing. Like, Portal 2 has a massive custom map community as well. You've got, you know, so many different custom maps on Grimrock. It's phenomenal. A friend of mine was looking for a map that is pretty much full on combat as opposed to having puzzles, and I'm yet to find one, but I found that just the sheer amount of, you know, custom dungeons is ridiculous. The problem is that you get so many, you don't know where to start. You know, you either go aimlessly in, or you go by ratings given by the community on each one. And I haven't really played any more mods than this one. As I said, I really want to play more, but it's up to you guys. If you'd like to see me do more, I will. But I've looked around anyway, as I said, because I was looking for a non-puzzle mod, I suppose you could say, one that doesn't really contain puzzles, or at the very least the bare minimum. And I found some interesting ones. Like there's one called the Hospital, which I have as well. Again, I haven't played it in any shape or form, and it's kind of more of a story than anything else. It's kind of like a horror story, I suppose you could say, and as opposed to being, you know, an outright Grimrock RPG dungeon, because I don't know if there's combat in it or not, but you know, from what I gather, like, you know, you have to figure out puzzles and you just have to get out of the dungeon or out of the hospital. And, you know, from what I gather, it's kind of a horror sort of element. It's all about the story, it's not about anything else. And apparently, from what I've seen, that the developer of that, or the creator of that, has actually made more than just one of them as well. It's different stories, but you know, it's crazy because you have others who are recreating old dungeon crawlers using the editor. There's one there that is recreating Eye of the Beholder, the first one, and they've even got the red texture for the walls of the sewers and everything. Now, unfortunately, that one looks like it's dead now. It doesn't seem like anybody's really bothering with finishing it off, unfortunately, which is a shame, because even I would have liked to have played that one. I think there's one recreating Black Crypt, which is another exceptional dungeon crawler that I played many years ago. I think there's someone trying to remake Dungeon Master, I think, and so much more. Like, the only thing, like, you know, there's two things when modding that limit you. One is the editor itself. It's only going to allow you to do so much, you know. But there is generally ways to work around it, if you know what I mean. If you're good enough with coding and things like that, you're generally able to work around certain things. Like you're able to add in new script and things like that allow you to do different things that the normal editor wouldn't. Though that's generally not the best idea, but you know, so you are limited to a point with an editor. But the only other thing that's really limiting you is just your imagination. And you know, I mean, I've seen people adding in new enemies into their custom dungeons, that, you know, enemies that weren't in this at all, and things like that, or they've modified the enemies in you know, different shades, different textures, different, you know, designs, things like that. They act differently. There's been things like that as well with different mods, and it's become such a massive thing, modding. To the point that you have to wonder, why aren't these people making games? Why are they only doing mods? Why aren't they out there making their own games? You really have to wonder sometimes. Like, I know, like, fair enough. Maybe it's just not something that interests them. That's fair enough. Maybe modding is just a hobby, and they wouldn't want to make games full time or something like that. I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea. You know, it's like anything. You know, some people just don't like doing, like, you know, they're happy just doing mods, and they'd rather just leave it at that, and, you know, not have to worry too much, as opposed to doing it for an actual living, which can be quite stressful. Like, I personally know some people that do make games. You know, a couple of my friends have gone into the gaming industry and have been making games. You know, or just working on their own little titles, things like that. But you know, it's stressful because there's so much to making a game. Like, it's not just a case of just put it here, put it there, put a few things here, put a few enemies there. You know, much more to it than that. So yeah, in a sense, I can understand why modders would sometimes sort of steer clear of the full-on gaming industry and just kind of stick to mods. But that's kind of how a lot of game developers start. They start with modding and go from there. That's generally how it starts. I'm kind of sorry that I didn't start that side of things, as opposed to me just going head in, straight going for a full game. I would have rather have gotten a tad bit more experience by doing the likes of mods. I'm kind of sorry I didn't, but you know, again, I was kind of young at the time, so young and impatient. There's no point in me trying to deny that I was an impatient individual. When it came to things like that, I was impatient. Yeah, I could play a game all fucking day and give it more patience than it bloody deserves. But yeah, like, if you were ever thinking of getting into game design, you know, like game development, want to make your own game, modding's a good way to start off. You know, do a few mods and see how it goes, and you know, see if people like it, like your stuff, and sort of take your experience from there and work with it to make your own game. Because, you know, any modder any good modder can become a game designer. There's just, you know, it's as simple as that. Anybody that can make a very good mod for a game can make a game of their own. It's as simple as that. Like the creator of this mod, for example, this is brilliant. It really is. Like, you know, I might get frustrated once in a while, but generally the reason I'm getting frustrated is not because of the mod itself. It's generally because of Grimrock's clunkiness with combat and things like that, as opposed to the modder's design itself. Like the puzzle with the dismantler, I mean, yeah, I got frustrated with that, but that was just more self-frustration than anything. I was just getting very fucking annoyed because I just couldn't figure out the blasted thing. It wasn't that I was getting, you know, given out to the developer of this or nothing like that. I wasn't doing that. Ah, what have we got here? I didn't notice that first time around. But I mean, there's a game that I wanted to do a let's play of back on the old computer, and it ran like shit. Plate greaves, always good to have. Chitin. I could replace that. That'll do. He's getting mighty hungry. Who's slowed down now? Him. Why is he slowing down so much? Well, I can get rid of them. There's no need for that sack. Anyone else hungry? Not really. See, I have a box full of fucking torches here. I don't really need them. Now, where's the key? Alright. Chitin gloves. Okay, well that just looks like a broadsword. Or short sword or something along those lines. I'll probably only get that one key though. That's the way something like this would generally work. You'd only get the one key. But I don't know. Alright, let's go back through here and kill a few more lizards. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Well, there was a game I wanted to do a let's play of a long time ago, back last year sometime, on the old computer, and I couldn't do it because it was the HD version of an old game, and it kinda ran like shit when I was recording. But it was a very small game when it was released. It was basically 90s indie type. And it was just made by some guy, and you know, his brother, his dad helped out as well. You know, stuff like that. And it was a silly game. You know, it was a sort of RPG type game. It was very silly. It had kind of immature humor in it, sort of, you know, immature teenage humor in it. It was called Dink Smallwood, and they made a HD version of it anyway, and that I can't really say is very HD, but it has improved in a number of aspects. But that game went on to make, well, it went on and an awful lot of mods were made. I mean, well over 200. And you know, some of them were okay, some of them were crap, some of them were just downright stupid. But it's the sheer fact that there was so many people willing to learn to use their editor and figure out, like, I don't think there's anyone making things small with mods anymore, but there was hundreds of them. Like, some of them were, like, most of them were sort of different adventures you went on, or different stories, things like that. But there's also some that made some changes to the actual game itself. You know, added improvements, things like that. But it's the game had a massive following. It really did, and it was just this tiny little game that was just free. It, you know, you'd have it finished in about, I don't know. I suppose on your first run it'd take you maybe 6 hours, something like that. And I remember I got it when I first got the internet. And I was just looking for games just to download, you know, just some free little games off of download.com, and Dink was one of those games, and I loved it. Like, it just had childish, immature humor, like, you know, suitable to a fucking teenager of my age at the time, and it was fun, you know. It wasn't a bad game. I mean, oh shit, my Minotaur's gonna die. It had its faults, you know. It had some serious game design faults, but you know, it was a bit of a grind at times, as an example. It really was, but it was still fun, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, give him one of them. And I'd still play it today, you know. And it just started off. I think he charged for it at first, and then I think maybe a month or two later he just released it for free, and everyone could download it, and people could use the editor as they wished, and you know, you start seeing all these mods appearing, and yeah, it was incredible. And Grimrock here is no exception. I mean, there's something ridiculous like 28 pages of mods, something like that when I was looking it up, and like, you know, 28 pages, that's a lot, considering there's, what, probably about 10 to 20 actual mods a page. That's pretty fucking intense. That is a buttload of fucking... Wow, this guy's attacking fast now. Come on! Like, it's crazy, it really is. Like, if you ever wanted to hope of playing a fucking every single mod on bloody of Grimrock, you'd want to fucking book a holiday for about 2 years and just shut yourself off from the fucking world. It's the only way you're gonna do it. And play nothing but Grimrock for about 2 years. But yeah, ornate key. I don't trust this. This looks like a trap. Where am I to go? Here? I've got the key. That's something. Oh, I remember this place. It's quite confusing, actually. But you'd never, unless you just played nothing but Grimrock mods, and that's it for probably 2 years. There is no way in hell you would ever play them all. It's insane. But that just goes to show the dedication of mod community. Now, I admit, like, some of the mods that you'll find on the workshop aren't finished. You you know, they might be half done or a quarter done or whatever. Like the Eye of the Beholder one is an example of that, where they've done the first couple of floors, but that's it, and they haven't seemed to have updated or anything in a very long time, which is rather disappointing. Outer Sanctum. That must be a tour room now, is it? The mountain was shaken by sudden tremors again. They seemed to emanate from below my feet, from the core of the mountain. I think I'm getting close to the source. You know, like the sheer commitment by fans is phenomenal, and you'll see that like from, you know, even YouTube channels, like the amount of, you know, fan work that goes into it all is ridiculous. I mean, you know, people are, for like top YouTubers, fans are always drawing new fan art and things like that, or they do fan videos or something. It's ridiculous, and it just shows people's commitment to something. Now I've got one of the keys, but I need the other, and this is where this horrible puzzle goes, isn't it? Let me see if I can remember how to do this now. Right. 2 times left she slithers. 1, 2. Once. Right. Once left. 3 times right. Yeah, and it sends you back here, doesn't it? Yeah, I remember this fucking place. And it's repeating itself all over again. I don't remember there being 3 of them though. Okay. Tick. Right. 2 times left. Right, how far do we go? Alright, okay. So it's 2 more. And that sends me back, right, okay. Bomb, 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 bomb. Right, okay. Right, so it's 2 times left, once right, once left, 3 times right, twice more, and it repeats this twice. 1, 2. Three times right, twice more left. This isn't working, is it? Okay, I'm gonna leave it here for this part, guys, and I'm gonna try and get my fucking head around this again, and we'll continue in the next part. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, and have fun.